Greetings once again, family, my family. It is Strat here from Strategic Audio, back with a new video. Today we're jumping into a genre or a subgenre really that's a bit different from what we've covered previously. I'm going to be making a really chill, kind of soulful R&B Trap Soul composition and then added some drums and creating a full beat. You know, the kind of stuff that you might hear someone like Bryson Tiller on, but not as slow as that traditional stuff. Mine is going to be a little bit more up-tempo. Now, if you can, and you enjoy watching this type of content, please drop a like and perhaps subscribe if you're so inclined. Alright, without further ado, let's jump in. I'm going to start with a grand piano sound, using, of course, Piano Tech 8, not a sponsor. So for the effects, as usual, I use the basic EQ, reverb, and compression. But unlike the vintage soul stuff that I usually do that's more traditional and natural in terms of effects, here I wanted to add some more, I guess you could say, modern harmonics. So I used the stock vintage chorus plugin inside FL to add that feel, which is why the piano sounds kind of airy like this. Here's how it sounds without that chorus effect. With the chorus effect. So it gives it some more movement. So here now is the basic chord structure for this composition. It starts with the C major 7 chord and it moves to the B dominant 7 chord. Now a dominant 7 or dominant 7th chord is built like this. You start with your root note, which in this case I want it to be B. And I chose B simply because I started off playing the C major chord or C major 7 chord, and intuitively I understand that if I wanted to create the effect that this creates, I needed to build a B chord, a B dominant 7 chord to get the R&B vibe that I'm looking for. So backtracking, to build a dominant 7th chord, you start with your root, in this case it's B, then your major 3rd instead of minor 3rd. The difference between the major and the minor 3rd is that with the minor 3rd, there are 2 semitone spaces between it and the root. And with the major 3rd, as you can see here, there are 3 semitone spaces between it and the root. So after you add your major 3rd, you add what is known as the perfect 5th, which in this case is the F sharp. So the root here is B, the major 3rd is D sharp, and the perfect 5th is F sharp. So essentially that is just a B major chord. What makes it the dominant 7th is you add a minor 7th to round it out, which in this case is A. Now what makes A your minor 7th in this case? Well, if I were playing a B minor chord, which is B, D, F sharp, I would need to add the A to make that B minor 7. When you add the minor 7th to the major triad, you get B dominant 7. And in the notation, sometimes it is written as B7. Okay, after that bit of music theory, the next chord in the structure here is simply an A minor 7. And then the final chord is a B minor 7. Note the similarity between the B dominant 7 and the B minor 7. The only difference really is the placement of this versus this. Just exactly what I explained before. Now what's interesting here, even though my first chord is a C major or a C major 7, I'm not playing in the key of C. I'm actually playing in the key of E minor, but specifically it's not natural E minor, it's called the E harmonic minor. Almost the same as the natural or normal E minor scale, except we sharpen the 7th note. So this is the natural E minor scale. I'm just going to play it. The E minor harmonic, or pretty much any harmonic scale, sharpens the 7th note. I'm going to play that now. So in the natural E minor scale, you get this. The D. With any harmonic, you get this. The D sharp. And you'll notice when we built the B dominant 7th chord, there's one note that stood out as not being in the natural E minor scale. Check it out. That's your B dominant 7th chord. This note doesn't come in the natural E minor scale, but it does come in the harmonic E minor scale. Using dominant 7th chords usually gives things a nice R&B vibe, which is why I chose to use that dominant 7th chord here. All right, let's take those same chords now. I'm gonna add a pad because, you know, this subgenre has a lot of ambient, laid back, chill, paddish kind of sounds. So here we go. So this is a pad sound that I made in Serum a while back, and I like it because it has a kind of nice fat analogish kind of vibe to it. So I think I'm going to add another layer of these same chords, but with maybe an electric piano. But I have an idea to where I can make that electric piano have some extra movement. All right, let's go. Okay, a few things. This is not a traditional electric piano. It's not an emulation of a Rhodes or a Wurlitz or anything like that. It's a kind of a piano sound that I made in Vital, which is a great free plugin. It's very much like Serum. And it sounds kind of extra dreamy because I put a lot of reverb on it, which is something that I also did with the pad because I like to wash these sounds in reverb for this particular genre. And I added a chorus effect from Hyperchorus, which is a stock plugin in FL Studio. And that's what's giving it that kind of dreamy, wobbly, spacey effect. Now, let me mute the pad for a second. All right, so now that I have these chords here, what I'm going to do, I want to create a kind of a reverse effect for these chords. So I'm going to hit Alt-Y, and this allows me to flip the score, and I'm going to flip it horizontally. What this does, it simply plays the chords in reverse order. So this is what it sounds like. So you see it didn't start on the C major 7. It actually started on the B minor 7, which is supposed to be the last chord. So now I'll just make sure this pattern is selected. I hit Ctrl-Alt-C, and this consolidates the MIDI score into audio. What I'll do now is open up the audio in the sampler window and hit reverse. And what this does is it puts the chords back in the correct order, but now the chords are essentially playing in reverse. And it gives it a nice effect. So this plus the pad, they're kind of doing the same thing and occupying the same space, but when the two of them are played together, you get that extra movement in there. It just gives it a nice vibe. So doing all this isn't strictly necessary, but like I said, it gives it a nice little extra vibe with the little movement, right? All right, so now let's move on. One of the mainstays or hallmarks of this genre, or maybe not hallmark, one of the things that you often hear is vocal chops. So I think I'll try to add some vocal chops here. I'm gonna grab Exhale by Output and see what I can come up with. Do a little bit of sound design. I just used a bit of EQ to boost the range that would correspond to vocal clarity for the human ear, and a ton of reverb, maybe not a ton, but a significant amount of reverb because again, I want that kind of airy, washed out feel for some of the elements or a lot of the elements in this track. Okay, time for some bass. love this kind of fat, dirty synth bass. I also created this in Serum a while back. It's great for this subgenre that we're working in today. Probably gonna add one more melodic element, and I think it's going to be a lead sound. And probably gonna hop into Omnisphere and see if I can find something that'll fit this. All right, let's add some drums to this and see what we get. Alright, let's hear the full beat from the top with a basic arrangement and some mixing done. Alright family, thanks so much once again for watching. I'm going to drop the melodies made here as a sample in the description for free if you're interested. We're actually close to 1,000 subscribers and I am so very grateful. If you're just finding us and watching for the first time, I do showcases and tutorials like this essentially every week. Generally, I do lots of soul stuff, soul samples, and lots of boom bap, but I'm not limited to that. And I wanted to kind of expand into other subgenres of hip hop. For me, it's not specifically about the sound or the subgenre, it's about the musicality. And giving the reasoning and the thought process behind my music production decisions and behind like best practice music production decisions that you will see lots of producers doing in their work. Also, the idea is to explain as much of the music theory as I can wherever I can. So please, if you're so inclined and you enjoy this type of thing, hit that subscribe button and help us get to 1,000 subscribers and past 1,000 subscribers. All right, until the next video, peace and blessings.